Alrighty, another day, another neighborhood. Today we are going to an area that if you are looking to live in Cleveland Heights and you're looking for a house kind of in between that 250 to 350K range, with great walkability, great community, safe neighborhood, this might be a great spot for you. So today we're going to drive over to Queenston. There's a house for sale over there I'm checking out. I'm going to walk the neighborhood, tell you a little bit about what's going on Queenston, aka the Royal Heights. Let's go take a look. So as we roll over to Queenston, so like I said, Queenston is in a pocket of Cleveland Heights referred to as the Royal Heights. That's just because of the names of the streets over in the area. So you've got Kingston, Queenston, Princeton, Canterbury, and these all run for the most part between Meadowbrook and Fairmount. Okay, and they are one of the last block of streets in Cleveland Heights before you get to University Heights. And they also, kind of border with Shaker as well. So Cleveland Heights, University Heights, and Shaker all kind of come together right in this area, referred to as the Royal Heights. And I would say this is one of the more popular areas in Cleveland Heights, meaning if a house comes on the market and it's priced correctly, it's usually going to go pretty quick. I think over the last year and 3 months, the average number of days on market is just about 2 weeks. And so things go quickly, I think mainly because the affordability of the homes and then the location and the neighborhood. And so we're going to pop out here in a minute, take a look at the streets, and kind of show you why people love living over here in the Royal Heights. Alrighty, as we get out on Queenston, you can see we've got snow. So we got our old St. Patty's Day snowstorm yesterday. So I'm out here trekking. I got my gloves on like a real jamoke. Mid-March, and we got snow on the ground, but that's all right. We'll make it work. All right, as we walk down the street here, so kind of giving you a general vibe of the neighborhood. So it's a lot of, on average, these are, you'll see behind me, nice brick colonial with a front porch. A couple nice looking colonials there. So generally you're gonna find, your kind of 3-bed, 2-bath, around 1,600 square foot home on average on these streets all throughout the Royal Heights. So Kingston, Queenston, Princeton, Canterbury, and these are homes that are built between 1920 to 1945 range. So colonials that are coming up on the 100-year mark is super common in this area. The great thing about this neighborhood, given the size of the homes, is all the homes are super manageable. They're not really big houses, and so they're easy to maintain. So you're going to find a lot of first-time home buyers in this area. You're going to find a lot of families in the neighborhood, and so a lot of the people living over here are either single folks that just bought their first home, or maybe a couple, or even somebody that has a kid or two as well. And also it's a good neighborhood for somebody that's maybe looking to downsize. Okay, so maybe they're coming from a bigger 5-6 bedroom house and they want something just smaller, a little bit more manageable. Those are a lot of the residents that you're kind of seeing over in this area, given the size of the home. So again, you see another nice looking colonial behind me. And as far as like the vibe of the neighborhood, it's like I said, ton of families. You get young professionals. As soon as the weather breaks, it's like everybody comes out of the woodwork. So the other day, last week it was in the 60s. You walk through this neighborhood, everyone is out. There's kids riding their bikes. There's kids on the playground. There's folks out running, walking their dogs, and so it's a really big. I think people are relatively active over in this community and out and about once the weather is a little bit nicer. And then also this path that I'm walking on right now, so this is the Bradford Cinder Path, and it actually goes from South Taylor, which is down that way behind me, all the way to Canterbury. And so you can get through the entire Royal Heights through this one kind of path. And so it's really super easy access to Canterbury Elementary School. If you live on one of these streets in the Royal Heights and your kid needs to walk to school, they don't really have to cross any major streets or go near Fairmount or anything like that. They can come down the Bradford path here, which is a lot safer, and easily get to school. And then talking a little bit more about prices. So, you know, a good chunk of the homes on these streets in the Royal Heights are going to be in that $250 to $350 range. And what's going to kind of determine the price, you know, obviously the size of the home. So if you're above 1,600 square feet or you've got 4 bedrooms, like that'll bump up the price a little bit. But then also just the condition and updates that the home does or doesn't have. So homes that are, you know, that 3-bedroom, 1,600 square foot house, maybe they have 1.5 baths that are move-in ready, and you know, maybe they have some system updates, so maybe a newer roof, but not a ton of cosmetic updates, but the homes are really well maintained. That's going to be that kind of $300,000 range, you know. And then once you start seeing homes that are, you know, closer to 2,000 square feet, maybe 1,800 square feet, they've got, you know, maybe 2 full baths, or maybe a first floor half bath, and maybe a 4th bedroom that also have an updated roof and updated heating and cooling, and then also a couple cosmetic updates sprinkled in. Those are the ones that'll be kind of that $350 range. And then the homes that maybe need a little TLC, or they just don't have a ton of updates to either the systems or the you know, cosmetics or anything like that, that's going to be that kind of $250 or below range. And so you're going to see a little bit of a wide range, but it's a really great area to be. We also saw one of the first $400,000 plus sales, which was over on Kingston. So it sold for $401. That was a 4-bed, 2 full bath, 2 half bath house, with a ton of nice updates done to it. And so we're starting to creep up in price over here. And I'd say in general, you know, people do a great job of maintaining their houses. Here's a nice little kind of bungalow here with front porch on it. So, you know, most of the homes are really well put together. People stay on top of cutting the lawn and trimming the hedges, all those type of things. And so the neighborhood has a nice clean feel to it. This is a nice looking house here behind me. Great front porches. A lot of homes with great front porches, which is nice. And so, like I said, when the weather's nice, you always see people out either sitting on the front porch or walking around. One of the other things I mentioned about why the neighborhood is so popular is the walkability. So you've got a number of schools in the area. So Canterbury Elementary School, you've got Roughing Montessori, you've got Beaumont, you've got HB, which are a few private schools. So there's a number of schools in the area and options for folks where their kids could walk to school in this neighborhood. This is one house that I really like. It's a cool brick house there. Then on top of that, you can easily get to Shaker Lakes, which has walking trails, and they've got a nature center up there. And then also on Fairmount, which we're going to walk to right now, you can get to coffee shops. You know, On the Rise Bakery is over here. Gigi's on Fairmount, which is a nice little restaurant. We got all of our Cavs and Cleveland sports fans out here. You see people repping the flags. And, you know, if you're a big runner like I am, there's a lot of good running options. And so like I said, they got the Bradford Cinder Path, which is a nice running trail. You can kind of run up and down the Royal Heights streets and then also go down that path. You can easily get to Shaker Lakes, which has some trails that you can run on. And then Shelburne, which kind of runs parallel with Fairmount, where we're walking right now. It's a relatively quiet street. You know, it depends on what time of the day you're over there. So I like to run there. And then it connects to North Park that has a bike lane. So, you know, you can run in the bike lane without any big issues. And so there's a lot of options if you want to get out and go for a run. We're almost to Fairmount right now. So on Fairmount, I'm going to show you that's where On the Rise Bakery is, and Gigi's. There's a yoga studio. All this you can walk to in, you know, 2 minutes. stretch on Fairmount there is super popular, especially on the Rise Bakery. So on the weekends, and especially when the weather is nice, I mean, it's not uncommon to see a line out the door with people waiting to grab fresh bread or croissants and scones and that type of thing. On the Rise, it was a few months ago, they went to some like bread Olympics in France and they won an award, so they're real legit. It's great, pop in there, get a little sourdough or espresso, something like that. So all right, we're gonna pop back in the car, mainly because it's freezing out here, and just kind of drive up and down the streets and show you guys a little bit more of the neighborhood. As we drive up Queenston right now, so as I said, a lot of these homes are 100 years old. They've hit their 100-year mark, or they will. It will be here soon. And so if you are selling a house, it's super important to look at things like the age of the roof, the furnace, the AC, and if those things are towards the end of their life, either replace them or offer a home warranty for a new buyer to give them peace of mind, especially within those first couple years of ownership, or have your list price reflect those type of things. Because a smart buyer in these areas, yes, cosmetic updates are important and they're nice to have, but on these older homes, if they have a good agent, they're going to be advised to pay attention to the older systems on these older 100-year-old plus homes. And so if you're selling, then also if you're buying, keep those things in mind over in this neighborhood. And those are the details and the variables that will affect the price of the home. I need to grab gas, but I want to show you guys, it's super easy if you need access to gas. You're a short drive and it's a little bit of a walk, but from the Royal Heights, I'm just going down Meadowbrook right now to get to Lee Road. So that's the nearest gas station. You also have over on Lee Road, coffee shops, restaurants, bike shops, all sorts of stuff. So you're super close, even a short drive away from things over here in the Royal Heights also. And back to running. So I got running on my mind, per usual. It's an easy run to the Cleveland Heights High School track too. So from the Royal Heights, depending on which street you're on, it is about, it's almost a little under 2 miles to jog up to the track at Cleveland Heights. So if you're looking for a good track workout or want to walk or run some laps up at the high school, you can go down Meadowbrook, hit South Taylor, and then I like to go down Washington Boulevard to get to the high school. So super easy to get over there. To wrap up the Royal Heights, some highlights and things that I love about the neighborhood are the affordability of the homes. So like I said, you can get a great first-time homebuyer house, or kind of that 3 to 4 bed, 2 to 2.5 bathroom house for a really great price. And then on top of that, the location and the walkability. Like, you can walk to 3 or 4 different playgrounds easily. You can walk to coffee shops. You can walk to schools, which is really, really nice to be able to do, especially when you've got kids. There's a lot of things for you to do to occupy them. And then just the neighborhood and the community. Like, there's a lot of people that love the Heights, that are, like being outside and friendly. And so the community, the walkability, the affordability of the homes are all really great things. So if you see a house pop up in the Royal Heights on Kingston, Queenston, Princeton, or Canterbury, go check it out, because it could be a really great option for you. And let me know if there's anything I can do to help make it happen.